All right, this task is called What's on the Test? So, all right, let's say you've been studying all these things, reading the material, participating in class, reviewing your notes, and now the test is just around the corner. This is the time to review everything that you've learned and your final chance to figure out the stuff you still don't quite understand. When you sit down to study for a test, what's the first thing you do? Um, so the first thing you might want to do is figure out what's going to be on the test. What do I need to know for this? You've been studying the whole time. What has the teacher been saying? So first thing is you can start by making a checklist on the main points you think will be on the test. Next to each main point, include the keywords or terms you need to learn about that idea. At first, don't worry about filling in all of the details. Just list the big ideas and the important words, the important terms, vocabulary words maybe that got reviewed. How do you know what's going to be on a test? What are some sources you can use to figure this out? Well, I have a form that is part of this task, and it's entitled What's on the Test? So you can take a moment and you can fill out that form, and then you can go through. But one of the things would be, one of the resources that you might have would be your teacher. Sometimes teachers will provide study questions. If not, you can always ask your teacher to identify important concepts or ideas or textbook chapters covered on the test. Your textbook is a good resource. Look at the main concepts, the main ideas within the chapters. Words in bold, such as new vocabulary words or ideas, and end of chapter questions. A lot of time those test questions come right from the end of chapter questions in some of those books. Your notes. Look for key points in your notes. After all, if your teacher spent time talking about it in class, this is probably pretty important. Your other classmates. What do your other classmates think are important things to know for the test? And if you hear the same thing from many different classmates, chances are pretty good that they've all got the same idea about what's going to be on that test. And then, of course, yourself. Consider yourself what questions you would ask if you were the teacher, and then write down a list of your own questions based on what you've learned and what you've studied. So once you have a list of the main topics and the terms that will be on the test, it's time to make sure that you really understand them. And chances are your notes in your textbook will be the main place to find those details. Because remember, change my page. Your notes are a great starting point for studying because they reflect what your teacher covered in class. In other words, what your teacher thought was the most important material, okay? So take a moment and try that activity on the task section and see how you do.